And welcome back to another video. The baby Bichir or Bichir in this video are now about a week or so old. I've just spawned them again to show you what we spawn them in and how you get the fry out of that and the best tanks to raise them up in, because there's a little bit of information we didn't have in the last breeding Bichir video, or Bichir. I know I say Bichir, I say Bichir. You'll sort it out. There's Benji on the ground. What are you doing, Benji? This is the messy part of my fish room. It is mainly holding tanks with different guppies, emergency tanks where I can just pump water from another system and dump fish in there to spawn and then take them out again, which is pretty much what this tank is. So this is a 120 centimeter tank, so a 4-foot tank by 18 by 18, so 48 centimeters, 48 centimeters. Perfect for spawning bigger fish like Senegals and stuff like that in. Obviously too big for tetras and what have you. That's why we use the smaller 2-foot tanks for them. But easy way to do it. So I've taken them out now, but I have these, which is like a little tray that you have plant pots and stuff in. We have these upside down in the bottom to give it a false bottom. And the reason you want a false bottom is when the egg scattering fish lay, their eggs fall generally to the ground and then they turn around and try and eat them all. So with a tray like this, all sitting front to back in there, so we have 4 of these in here, the eggs go into the tray and they can't get them. So you're going to sort of save a lot more fry that way. It only really matters if you want tons of fry as opposed to just like, 50 or 100 or what have you. Because Senegal Bichir don't have thousands of eggs when they're smaller, we wanted to save a few extra bits and pieces. So those are on the bottom, anchored down with these rocks, and then we've got the spawning mops, which is just a wool attached to itself. If you don't know how to make a spawning mop, comment down below, or there's 10,000 videos on making spawning mops. I'm not going to bother doing a video on that because it's pretty easy. All it is wool in a ball tied together underwater. Most people use green, stuff like that. I decided to go for fluorescent pink because it doesn't matter what color you use. The fish are still going to use them. We've got some natural moss as well. Ironically, most fish will breed in the natural moss compared to the spawning mops. So always pays to give them an option if you can. That way you'll just get better results when you're breeding stuff. But yes, we've taken these out today. There are fry starting to wiggle and scatter around. With Bichir or Bichir, I have to pick one, don't I? I'm going to go Bichir. Sorry, we're Australian. That's what we say. Yeah, when they hatch, and there's just one wiggling on the screen right now. They look like a tadpole and they'll just start wiggling and darting around. So what we're going to do is we have a little cup somewhere. Let me find my cup. There is my cup. And a little tiny pipette thing, whatever it's called. Is it a pipette? I'm sure it is. So we're going to get a little bit of water and we are going to siphon the babies into the cup and then put them in a grow out tank. We could grow them out in this tank, but the problem with growing them out in this tank is the babies are not easily going to get the food. So you put the food in, all the food could be sitting down there, the babies could be over there, they'll actually starve to death because they're babies and babies can't really fend for themselves that well. In a smaller tank, like you see on the screen, a lot easier. So smaller floor space, you can still have a bigger volume of water, but because these guys sit on the bottom, easier access to the food, so it makes it a lot simpler to feed them. And you don't want a whole lot of cluttered stuff in your tank as well, because otherwise babies and food are going to get trapped underneath. They start dying off. That's going to mess your water quality up. And when you're growing a lot of fish up, you want really good water quality because there's a lot of fish producing a lot of waste. Let's catch a fish. And we have our first baby Bichir. There he is. Easy as that. So now you just have to repeat this about 200 times. Yeah, so I do this a little bit each day. You've got probably a couple of days before they absorb their egg yolk inside, and then they need food actively. So they're going to probably survive about 4 or 5 days without food. You can feed them in the spawning tank as well. why you're trying to catch them all out, or you can just try and grow them up this way. But the only problem is if you can't keep track of how big the fry are getting, some of the bigger ones will start eating all the little ones, and you might only end up with like 2 or 3 bigger bircher. So I keep the babies in 2-foot tanks, so they're 60 centimeters by 30 centimeters, so 2 foot by 1 foot. A lot easier to raise the fry in smaller tanks than what it is in a bigger tank, obviously because of the floor space. The fry in this tank are about a week old, so they're the ones you saw at the start of the video. Going well, just have to make sure you feed them a couple of times a day at least. So because a lot of people work, including me, unfortunately, so if everyone can just watch all my videos so I can afford to not work, that would be wonderful. Wash the ads, wash the ads. Yes, because everyone works, you want to feed them early in the morning before you go to work and at night as well. As long as the light has been on for like a few hours, you can feed them then. They are semi-nocturnal, so they will eat at night, but because babies are pretty sensitive, you want to make sure they've got enough light and they're not startled so they'll actually get the food. They grow super quick, so the ones that are about a week old in this tank here are maybe about 3 times the size of the fry we just got out of the main tank. So you want to actually notice them growing very quickly. There are a lot of fry at the moment. Oh, we did get some DOVII cichlid fry. Well, did get some. They are way in the back corner there. Super awesome, actually both back corners. They are from my big tank. If you haven't seen my big tank, there'll be a link at the end of this video. It's a big 9-footer with lots of big fish, obviously wolf cichlids. But we did manage to harvest some fry off them before they got eaten by all the other ones. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up so I know. I'll try and make more little videos like this just about mucking around, breeding fish and having fun. We will see you in the next one.